So I know a lot of you either went to bed super late last night or woke up super early, or like me, did both and are going on a whopping hour of sleep. But I'm pretty disappointed in humanity this morning. Obviously, we did not get the outcome we were anticipating. I'm sad. I'm angry at myself for believing that we could do it. The momentum was there. The funding was there. The efforts were there. I mean, I spent days knocking doors, writing postcards. I spent all day yesterday going to the polls, trying to, be positive and just keep people hopeful. And while Virginia came through, thank you, the nation did not. But one thing that I kept saying early on when I made the assumption that Harris would win was that Trump's popularity couldn't possibly have grown after January 6th, after the overturning of Roe v. Wade because of his three SCOTUS picks, everything that's happened, there's no way his popularity could have grown. And I was right. As it stands right now, Trump has won both the popular vote and the Electoral College with over 3 million less votes than he received in 2020. And while there is still about 1 to 1.5 million votes outstanding, a majority of those will be going to Harris. So this will not be growing much more than it currently sits. People just didn't show up. As of right now, we are at a 18 million vote deficit compared to 2020. People chose to stay home. It's also worth noting that as many people that said, we're voting and listening to Black women and Black men and minority voices. And yet the shift with white women went from 55 to 52% in Pennsylvania, and even less in Georgia. So, what does this look like moving forward? Well, it looks like I'm going to keep fighting the good fight, and I know many other people will too. I have three daughters, and I'm not going to sit on the sidelines and risk any more of their rights being taken away. I'm going to run for House of Delegates in the 71st again next year. I've already registered, and I intend to win this go around. And I'm going to speak truth to the realities of what a Trump presidency is going to look like and speak on it as it happens in real time. And right now, I'm going to tell you what to anticipate. The Department of Education is definitely on the chopping block. It is either going to be grossly defunded or it is going to be dismantled altogether. What that's going to look like is particularly in our lower income communities, such as my school, programs like Title I that are giving added resources to students that do not have resources at home and are quite literally falling behind. They will lose those resources. And unless the state and local government can find the funds to keep those resources afloat, they will disappear, putting many children who are already at a deficit further behind the eight ball. They will also likely push for a federal activation of school choice, reallocating taxpayer dollars into private institutions with no oversight. It's also worth noting that discrimination within our school system will be given a free pass, particularly when it comes to our transgender communities. Those students are going to have a target on their backs. So if you are in the education industry, please, please, please keep that in mind and keep them and their families near and dear to your heart. There's going to be no implication of any type of gun regulation to deter the unaliving of our children in school. So that's a real consequence of this election because Trump never had any type of policy to address mass shootings, and that is definitely not going to change with the group of people he has advising him and the people that are currently controlling the House and the Senate. We can anticipate that Justice Roberts and Justice Thomas are going to step down, and Trump is going to appoint two more Supreme Court justices that are going to have far right ideology and will likely be younger and affect us for at least 2 to 4 decades. We can anticipate that the only way he is going to negotiate and give any type of resources to Zelensky in Ukraine is if Zelensky agrees to annex parts of Ukraine to Russia, namely naval bases. We can assume that he will help Israel, as he put it, finish the job. We can anticipate some concerns around a federal abortion ban. And I realize many people are going to come in here and say that's not true. As it stands right now, there is a high likelihood he is going to have full control over the House and the Senate. And I am not an idiot. And there are ways around the filibuster, especially when you have the trifecta and loyalist. His anticipated appointment of RFK Jr. over Health and Human Services and the Food and Drug Administration, we will see some real harmful effects of things like removing fluoride from our water and impoverished communities, particularly our children who do not have access to dental care, quite literally losing their teeth and having an epidemic of decay and cavities. We will see vaccines no longer be required federally, and many schools not being able to have any say over the vaccines allowance in the schools, and eradicated diseases may start to rear their ugly heads again. We will see a lot of allowances of corporations to have more power when it comes to the control of our foods and our drugs. And despite what RFK has been selling you, at the end of the day, Trump's end game goal is to make corporations happy, not people. He is going to put Elon Musk over various financial decisions in his cabinet, giving him further access to national security information and likely more federal contracts. That's just a few of the things that come on the top of my head. I haven't even touched on the plans of trying to unilaterally extract power from the congressional body, putting it on the executive branch, which is an absolute plan of the 2025 mandate. And with JD Vance, I'm sure that that is going to be ushered in. I'm really disappointed that our nation thought a convicted felon, a civilly liable sexual predator, someone who has made a living out of lying and defrauding American citizens, the 47th president, giving him the keys again. And to those that protest voted, I hope you're okay with what you just did. So today's a bad day, but we're going to wake up tomorrow and we're going to keep working. So breathe. Just breathe.